Hello all, welcome to the tutorial on how to create an SAP UI5 project in Eclipse. Let me take you to the Eclipse editor, create an SAP UI5 project from scratch without even writing a single line of code and show you how do we do that. Guys, you can see here the Eclipse editor. I click on file, I click on new, I go to other option, then I see here SAP UI5 application development. There's an option here. When it is expanded, it shows application project and a view. I select on application project, click on next, give any name to the project, say my application. It asks me for a default location, let it be selected. I save that in the default workspace. It asks me for a library selection. I see here two libraries, SAP UI.commons, SAP.m. SAP UI.commons, it's a desktop based library. SAP.m is a mobile based library which allows us to create responsive apps. Now I see an option of create an initial view. You have the choice to uncheck that checkbox. I leave it as it is because it will help me to create an initial view from scratch, and so that you can see how do we create an demo SAP UI5 application without even writing a single line of code. I click on next. It asks me create a new view. As we have checked on the checkbox for create an initial view, let me give the name of the view as main. Now you see here there are four types of views: JavaScript, XML, JSON and HTML. XML is an SAP recommended view because it allows us to follow an MVC design pattern. JavaScript is not as much as recommended as XML because it actually breaches the MVC design pattern or design architecture. But as you might see in most of the SAP Fiori apps, XML view is the most recommended one, but there are still certain apps which uses the JavaScript view as the main view. We also have this JSON and HTML view, which is something we will be avoiding as part of this tutorials because this is something which is not recommended, but we have the options to create in JSON and HTML. Now we see we select the JavaScript view. I click on next. You see the confirmation message over here. You see the target device will be SAP.m. You see the following libraries will be added as part of this project, and also you see the controller main.controller.js will be created at the following location. Now this controller, because in an SAP UI5 project you see each view will be having a corresponding controller and the name of the controller will be the same. Now I click on finish. You would see here my application is created in the project explorer. You see here I expand the application. You see there are certain folders over here. I go to the web content. Primarily being a web application, you would be having a web content or a root folder. You see here an index.html file and a project folder here called as my application. You might see that you have two same names, the project name here as my application and another name here in the lowercase as my application. Guys, this is the resources folder of my UI5 application, which actually holds the resources, say the view controller files, and this is primarily a basic UI5 app. It's not following the SAP Fiori design guidelines or the design principles. That's the reason we are not following the standard Fiori folder structure of the application. We would see that in the forthcoming tutorials. So for the demo purpose, let's keep how the Eclipse creates using the wizard. Here you see the view as the JavaScript view with the extension. Also you see here you see the syntax of defining the view, SAP UI.js view. You see there are two functions here: get controller name, which fetches in the controller name, and create content. This function returns, actually you can return sap.m.page, an object of a page here. Now this is as part of sap.m library. You see the property of page control, it has title and content aggregation. Now I see the title. I just change this title to something that you can noticeably see in the application. Say I put it as my first SAP UI5 app. You see here an asterisk sign which says it's in editing mode. Click on save. Your view changes are done here. Similarly you have an index.html file. You have a controller here. You see everything is commented out except the declaration of the controller. Now what we have to do is, let's just run this application and see how do we run a UI5 application through an Eclipse editor. You right click on the application and just select the run as option. You see web app preview. Guys, this option has been brought up by the Jetty server, which is inbuilt as part of the Eclipse editor. Now you need not install a Tomcat on Apache server separately. Just click on web app preview. It might show you the application being in a run mode here. The only drawback is you might not be able to debug it here as well, because it's an inbuilt browser of the Eclipse editor being shown up here. You have another option: copy the URL, open a browser and paste that URL and run there. Or you have an option here, open an external browser. You can see here the mouse I am moving here. You click on this, it opens up the browser here. You can see the URL along with the application being open here. You see the title which I have changed in the view, my first SAP UI5 app, and you see here the blue color. It shows that something is happening in the background related to SAP UI5, because this is called as a theme. You might see here SAP_blue crystal theme. So this blue color you are able to see in this body is because of this theme which we are using here. We might go in further details of what is all content of the index.html file. We will also go ahead and understand what is the controller, what are these 4 lifecycle methods: on init, on before rendering, on after rendering, and on exit method. We will also try adding certain more controls as part of the page control here. We'll add in the content aggregation. We'll add further controls like button or text box, and we will see in the forthcoming tutorials. Till then, thank you very much and goodbye.